There's something you're carrying right now that feels smaller in the light and enormous in the dark. You don't notice it until you try to move quickly and your shoulders burn. You don't notice it until you try to sleep and your mind rewinds the same miserable film. You don't notice it until someone asks, "Are you okay?" And you answer with a shrug that's more a surrender than a reply. That weight, that relentless, polite heaviness, is not your fault. It's the habit of holding on. Most of us were taught the same dangerous gospel. Grab tight. Never let go. Fight until the body gives out. Win at all costs. Control the outcome. Make the future bend to your will. It's heroic sounding, but it's a lie. What if I told you the prize you're straining for is behind the very thing you refuse to release? What if the fastest, most radical way to change everything is not a harder push, but a strategic surrender? Letting go is not weakness. It is precision. It's not giving up. It's choosing a new battlefield. Imagine you've been pressing your forehead against the locked door for years, convinced strength will break the lock. Meanwhile, the door across the hall's wide open. The effort, the strain, the rituals of clutching, they've been a story you tell yourself about loyalty, resilience, toughness. But stories can be rewritten, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is loosen your grip and walk through a different door. Listen, this isn't a soft pep talk. It isn't one more catchy mantra to stick above your desk. This is practical strategy dressed as philosophy. I'm talking about targeted release, the kind of surrender that doesn't abandon goals. It optimizes them. You stop expending energy on things that resist you, and you funnel every ounce into what actually moves. The result? Clarity, momentum, a kind of gravitational shift where life begins to pull towards you, instead of you dragging life toward where you think you should be. Think about that friendship you've been patching with duct tape. You know the one. Late night calls that leave you drained, favors asked without reciprocation, compliments that feel like currency. You keep showing up because the word loyal hums like a medal in your head. You try to fix it, explain, justify, carry the emotional load for two people. But here's the thing. You cannot force someone to be the person they're not. You can only stop making yourself a receptacle for their dysfunction. When you unclench, when you stop volunteering as the fixer, two things happen. Either the relationship recalibrates because your boundaries change the rules, or it dissolves and the space opens for people who actually meet you. That vacuum isn't emptiness. It's a landing pad for something real. Your energy, previously siphoned into trying to be everything for someone else, returns to you. You become available for connection that elevates, not erodes. Letting go doesn't guarantee loss. Often, it guarantees arrival. Now consider that failure you keep rehearsing like a script, the business that imploded, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that evaporated. You analyze it until it's a fossil. Every jagged edge cataloged, every blame assigned, every if only played on loop. You wear your failure as proof that the world is hostile and you're fragile. But what if failure is not the final verdict? What if failure is a guidepost? Not shame, but jeeps. When you stop telling the story that a single defeat defines your whole trajectory, you free up bandwidth. Your past loses its hold on your present. The mind space occupied by what went wrong becomes available for what could go right. Failure becomes data, not destiny. It teaches, it redirects, it refines. You don't erase the pain, you mine it for insight. That's letting go. You extract the lesson and drop the landmine of regret. And then there's the future, the big, fuzzy monster we like to preemptively panic about. You've tried to control the future like it's a brittle vase you can pre-nail into a shelf. Plans, contingencies, backup plans for backup plans, all useful to a point. But obsessing over what might happen steals the only real power you have, this present moment. The truth is simple and brutal. You cannot control what hasn't yet unfolded. The energy you spend trying to micromanage tomorrow is energy stolen from what you can actually shape right now. Letting go of the illusion of total control is not resignation. It's empowerment. It's trusting your capacity to adapt. It's knowing that you have handled storms before and you will handle storms again. That trust is a muscle. Strengthen it by practicing on the small things. Release a conversation that went sideways. Stop refreshing a message you're waiting for. Leave the house without a plan for every 5 minutes. Little acts of release rebuild your confidence for life's larger uncertainties. Let's be honest. Most people confuse letting go with laziness. They think if you stop fighting, you'll drift into some passive fog. That's not what we mean. Real letting go is active, tactical, and fiercely intentional. It's not quitting on your desires. It's quitting on the unproductive methods. It's trading the exhaustion of 100 dead-end attempts for the laser focus of the few that actually work. It's less about giving up and more about choosing well. Picture sand slipping through a closed fist. The harder you hold, the faster it escapes. Open your hand. The sand rests. You gain steadiness by loosening your grip. That's paradox. When you stop trying to squeeze control out of life, life begins to hold you. This paradox is ancient for a reason. Every spiritual tradition that lasted the test of time teaches some version of this. The real power lives in softness. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, a builder, relentless, all drive, woke up at 4 a.m. every day for 20 years, chasing contracts, calls, more work. His muscles were strong, his relationships thin. He never sat with his children because work is how I provide. One day, his company collapsed under debt. No warning. He hit rock bottom. For a while, he clung to the wreckage, replaying how he could have saved it. Eventually, he stopped. Not because he had no fight left, but because he realized his fight had been in the wrong direction. He let go of the identity of always producing. He learned to say no to overload. He reconnected with his children. Months later, he started a different business. Smaller, aligned, and somehow more profitable. Because his presence, not his hustle, became the asset. That turnaround wasn't magic. It was a strategic release. Here's another. The habit you can't break. Endless scrolling, perfectionism, people-pleasing. For a while you might try willpower, and willpower will fail. Why? Because you're treating a habit as an enemy when it's a symptom. You're trying to dominate a part of yourself instead of understanding it. Letting go here means curiosity. Ask, what need am I trying to meet by scrolling? Boredom? Avoidance? Validation? Name it. Meet it differently. Replace judgment with compassion. When you stop warring with yourself, change becomes natural. You trade the fight for a friendlier, kinder method. That's powerful, and it's sustainable. This practice of release is not a single heroic act. It's a daily discipline. Some days you'll clench. That's human. The point is not perfection. It's awareness. Catch yourself tightening and consciously unfurl. Some days you'll revert to old instincts. Say, I see you, and choose differently. The real progress is in the returning. A river doesn't stop flowing because it hits a rock. It finds the way around, and over time, carves canyons. Resilience is persistence without the cruelty of self-blame. And let's be clear about what you're not surrendering. You're not surrendering your values, your goals, your integrity. You're surrendering the need to control, the small-minded belief that if you push hard enough, everything will line up exactly how you imagine. There's a big difference between dedication and desperation. Dedication is steady. It's buoyant. Desperation is like a drowning person flailing, noisy, exhausting, unlikely to be saved by more noise. So, how do you practice strategic surrender? 3 small, precise moves. First, inventory. Identify one relationship, one regret, or one habit where you're exerting a disproportionate amount of energy with little return. Be brutally honest. Ask, am I changing this person, this past, or this pattern by holding on? Or am I only changing myself into someone tired, resentful, depleted? Naming it defangs it. Second, boundary. Replace the vague concept of letting go with a concrete action. Text less. Say no once this week. Stop rescuing. If it's a job that eats you, carve 1 hour a day where you do something that feeds you instead. Small boundaries are leverage. They create space where choices can breed. Third, curiosity. Whenever you feel the tug of control, ask, what am I trying to avoid? What am I trying to guarantee? Then respond with curiosity instead of panic. Curiosity doesn't dissolve problems instantly, but it dissolves the panic that prevents solutions. It turns reactivity into creativity. Think of water. It yields. It wraps. It never fights the mountain. It finds the seam. It's both gentle and relentless. Over time, water carves steel into sculptures. You can be like that. You can be soft enough to adapt and tough enough to last. Yielding is not surrendering your power. It is expressing it differently. Now imagine your life when you stop white-knuckling everything. You'll breathe deeper. You'll sleep fuller. You'll make decisions from clarity instead of exhaustion. You'll attract people who don't require you to be smaller, so they feel bigger. Doors you didn't know existed will appear because you stopped forcing the wrong ones. Opportunities will find you, not because you begged them, but because you were available to receive. This availability is a quiet superpower. It looks like presence. It looks like being able to say yes when something aligned appears and no when it doesn't. It looks like a life where you work from energy, not from scarcity. Imagine waking up and knowing that today, whatever happens, you have enough. You can handle it, and your worth is not contingent on the outcome. Imagine the relief. And relief is not a passive defeat. Relief is an opening. It is the space where creativity lives. It is a space where love grows. When you stop spending all your oxygen on perfecting the future, you have more air to build beauty now. So start small. Unclench your jaw. Now. Let your shoulders drop. Take a breath that feels like claiming back territory. Then take another action. One tiny, decisive act of release. Maybe you delete an app that steals your evenings. Maybe you decline an invitation that will hollow you out for the sake of being liked. Maybe you finally say the sentence you've been rehearsing. This isn't working for me. You will not lose everything by doing this. You will gain a self you can trust. You will gain space for real growth. You'll gain momentum that doesn't have to be manufactured by force. You will gain a life that feels like permission rather than punishment. Here's the beautiful, inconvenient truth. The river that knows the way home has no interest in your guilt, your shame, your fear. It keeps flowing. It will carry you, not by rescuing you from responsibility, but by aligning you with the intelligence already moving through life. You can swim against it, and you will tire, or you can learn its currents, and you'll travel farther than your fists ever could drag you. Remember, letting go is a skill. It is learned through practice, not preachment. It is carved out by repeated choices. There's not a single dramatic surrender. So practice today. Notice what you're holding. Name it. Release one small thing. Watch what shifts. This is not denial of pain. This is refusal to make pain the dictator of your destiny. This is recognizing that grief, disappointment, and uncertainty are teachers when you let them be, not jailers when you clutch them tight. Let them teach. Let them redirect. Let them move through you. If this landed and something inside you unclenched, do one small brave thing right now. Drop a comment that simply says, "I let go." No story, no explanation. Just those 3 words is a promise to yourself. Why? Because that tiny declaration turns an inner shift into a public vow. It makes the choice real. When you write it, you're not asking for permission. You're claiming a new way of moving through life. If you know someone who's been holding on for too long, share this with them and tell them to drop "I let go" too. Scroll back through the comments tomorrow and read the momentum. People deciding, failing, trying again, cheering each other on. If you want to go deeper, reply to someone else's "I let go" with one sentence of encouragement. That small circle of honest replies is how we build a conversation that matters. This is a quiet revolution. Say, "I let go." Mean it. Then show up for what comes next. Right now, take a breath. Feel the shoulders loosen. Hear the tiny unclenching in your chest. That sound is permission. It is the beginning of a new way of moving through the world. It's the quiet revolution that outlasts loud desperation. So, let go. Not because it's easy, not because it always makes sense immediately. Let go because you're worth the space it creates. Let go because the life on the other side of your grip is larger, kinder, and truer than the life you've been forcing. Let go because the river knows the way home. And if you stop paddling against it, you'll arrive somewhere you never knew to aim for, but always needed. The river is waiting. Open your hand. The world will surprise you.